10 years ago, a Boeing 777 with 239 people on board took off from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing. It was a routine flight, just another red-eye across the South China Sea, but flight MH370 never landed. It vanished from radar, from satellite tracking, from the face of the Earth. It became the greatest mystery in modern aviation history. And for a decade, the world has been asking the same question. What happened to MH370? Let's dive into the theories, because when you have no answers, theories are all you have. The first one is perhaps the most chilling. Pilot suicide. The captain, Zahari Ahmad Shah, was an experienced pilot, passionate about flying. But at his home, investigators found a flight simulator. On it, a flight path was programmed, one that ended deep in the southern Indian Ocean, eerily similar to where experts believe the plane went down. Was this a rehearsal? A dark plan in the making? But the counter-evidence is just as strong. His family and friends described him as mentally stable, a happily married man who loved his job. Would he really murder 238 innocent people? It seems unthinkable. Then there's the hijacking theory. Someone, or some group, took control of the plane. But this theory unravels quickly. No terrorist group ever claimed responsibility. There were no ransom demands, no political messages, nothing. If it was a hijacking, it was the quietest, most pointless one in history. The hijackers would have achieved nothing but their own demise, along with everyone else on board. What about a catastrophic mechanical failure? A fire in the cockpit, a sudden depressurization, a complete electrical blackout. This could explain why the plane went silent. But it doesn't explain what happened next. The plane didn't just fall out of the sky. It kept flying for 7 more hours. It made a series of deliberate, sharp turns, veering far off its intended course. Mechanical failures don't navigate. A machine doesn't change its mind. This leads to the hypoxia theory. A gradual loss of cabin pressure could have caused everyone on board, including the pilots, to lose consciousness from lack of oxygen. The plane, flying on autopilot, would have become a ghost ship, cruising through the night sky until it ran out of fuel and crashed into the sea. This explains the long flight time. But it doesn't explain the human actions that took place at the beginning of the incident. Why was the transponder, the device that identifies the plane to air traffic control, manually turned off? Why did the ICARS system, which sends automatic updates on the plane's health, stop transmitting? And most importantly, why did the plane make that first, deliberate turn back over Malaysia? Someone was in control. Someone was conscious. Finally, we have the more conspiratorial theories, like a military shootdown. The idea is that the plane was accidentally shot down by a military force and the whole thing was covered up. But whose military? Malaysia's? China's? The United States? In an age of constant satellite surveillance and whistleblowers, how could a government hide the downing of a massive commercial airliner? It's a plot worthy of a Hollywood movie, but the logistical hurdles are immense. Every theory has a piece of evidence that seems to fit, but every theory also has a giant hole that nothing can fill. It's like a puzzle where all the pieces are from different boxes. But this story isn't just about theories and technical data. It's about the people left behind. The families who have lived in a state of suspended grief for a decade. Imagine losing not just one, but 4 members of your family in an instant. That's what happened to Zhang Yongli. He lost his wife and 3 children on MH370. For years, he became an amateur detective, traveling to every beach on the Indian Ocean where debris was rumored to have washed up. He sifted through sand, collected fragments, and relentlessly demanded answers from authorities. His life became a quest for a truth that never came. Danica Weeks lost her husband, Paul. A decade later, she still wears his wedding ring. Every year, she celebrates his birthday, keeping his memory alive for their 2 young sons. She waits for closure, a word that means so little until it's the only thing you want in the world. Then there's Grace Nathan. Her mother, Ann Daisy, was on that flight. The tragedy propelled Grace into a new career. She became a lawyer, specializing in aviation law. She didn't do it for the money. She filed lawsuits against Malaysia Airlines, the Malaysian government, and Boeing, all in the pursuit of one thing: the truth. For these families, the last 10 years have been a nightmare in slow motion. No wreckage, no bodies, no answers. Just an empty space in the sky where their loved ones disappeared. In many cultures, especially in China where most of the passengers were from, mourning is a process with clear steps. You need a body to hold a funeral, to say a proper goodbye. Without it, you can't move on. So many of them don't. They wait. Some cling to hope that seems irrational to an outsider. They believe their loved ones might still be alive, held captive somewhere, suffering from amnesia on a secret island. It sounds like a fantasy, but can you blame them? When you have no proof of death, hope can be a stubborn, relentless thing. The biggest character in this story might not be a person, but a place, the Indian Ocean. It's a vast, unforgiving expanse, covering 70 million square kilometers. The search areas were in some of its deepest parts, reaching depths of over 7,000 meters. That's nearly 23,000 feet. At that depth, there is no light. The pressure is immense enough to crush a submarine like a soda can. It's a place humans can barely reach, let alone search effectively. The technology used in the initial search was state-of-the-art for its time, but it was like using a magnifying glass to find a needle in a continent-sized haystack. In 2018, a private company, Ocean Infinity, launched a new high-tech search. Now, 10 years after the disappearance, there's a flicker of new hope. The Malaysian government has announced they are considering resuming the search. New technology, better data analysis, and a renewed will to solve the mystery might just be what's needed, but the question lingers. Will they finally find it? Or will the ocean keep its secret forever? This is the question that keeps investigators, families, and amateur sleuths awake at night. How did this happen? In 2014, we lived in a world of constant connection. We had GPS in our pockets, satellite tracking, sophisticated radar systems, and flight recorders designed to survive almost any crash. We live in what we thought was the most surveilled era in human history. And yet, a 64-meter-long, 200-ton aircraft simply vanished. If a plane that big can disappear without a trace, what else don't we know? What other blind spots exist in our interconnected world? What other mysteries are hiding in plain sight? The families deserve answers. The aviation industry deserves answers to ensure this never happens again. And the 239 souls who boarded a plane expecting to land safely in Beijing. They deserve to be found. And then, in 2025, everything changed. A fisherman hauling his nets off the coast of Indonesia felt a heavy, unusual snag. He pulled up a twisted piece of metal. It was heavy, and it had a serial number stamped on it. He reported it, not thinking much of it. But when authorities checked the number, they found a match. It was from the landing gear of a Boeing 777. Boeing confirmed it. The serial number belonged to the landing gear of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. The location of the discovery was staggering. It was 1,200 kilometers away from the primary search areas in the southern Indian Ocean. For 10 years, the entire world had been looking in the wrong place. The new location suggested a completely different flight path, a different end to the story. The discovery didn't answer what happened in the cockpit that night, but it gave search teams something they hadn't had in a decade. A new beginning. A real place to look. The mystery wasn't over, but the silence had finally been broken. Thank you for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the world's greatest mysteries, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'll see you in the next one.